Hello and welcome to the Maximize Your Employability Interview Effectively workshop. I am Andrea Ashmore. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm an employment specialist in career services. So today we're going to gain insight on what to expect before, during, and after an interview. We're going to learn how to identify and communicate employability skills and perfect your delivery. So career services is normally located in the Penguin Union building in the lower level in Pub 002 across from the Archer Gallery. Due to the COVID interesting times right now, we are working virtually. We are still offering our services, however, but the best way to get a hold of us is to either call our phone number at 360-992-2902 and leave a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can, or email us at careerservices@clark.edu. So our services include student employment. So if you are looking for a flexible part-time position, normally it would be located on campus, but again, since we are working virtually, these positions have been kind of converted to a more virtual format, just like your classes. So it's 17 hours a week, and it's a great way to gain some employability skills. And, the supervisors are going to work around your school schedule. So it's a great opportunity. If you're interested, definitely send us an email and we can kind of walk you through the steps. So we also help with job search outside of Clark College. And we do have an online job board called Penguin Jobs, where local employers do post positions that they're specifically looking for Clark College graduates and students, and also community members. So definitely check that out. I'll be sending you a link. And then we also help with resume and cover letter critiques, practice interviews, co-ops and internship information, employer engagement, career advising. So if you need some assistance in getting some clarifications on what all is out there and your career path, we can set you up with a career advisor to kind of walk you through the steps and guide you. So just know that that is a wonderful service that you should definitely take advantage of. We also offer career exploration and assessments, like the Myers-Briggs and the Strong Interest Inventory, and those are offered to students at a discount. So those are wonderful tools to help you, decide, what types of careers would be good fits for you. So we also offer job and career fairs, and normally we would do a big career fair. We do it annually in June, right around or just before graduation. So since we are working virtually, we decided not to do it this year, but definitely check that out in the future. We also manage the student success workshops just like this. So my advice to you is to take advantage, because most people have to pay money to, attend workshops such as this one and all the other amazing ones that we offer. So take advantage. We also offer financial wellness coaching. So if you need some assistance on, budgeting and things like that, or if you are in need of emergency funds, definitely send us an email and we can get that off to the financial wellness team to help you out. Again, totally free services. So accompanying handouts, which are normally emailed to you after this workshop. And I'm going to kind of, reference these as we go along. So there's going to be the typical interview questions, self-introduction, interviewing tips, interview rubric, questions to ask the interviewer, thank you note, a link to Amy Cuddy's TED Talk. We'll talk more about this. link to my plan, and then link to Penguin Jobs video tutorial. So Clark College has a membership for Standout, which is a new free video-based practice interview tool that gives you the opportunity to practice your interview skills in kind of a low stress environment. So what it is you basically will give you access, and then you can go in and choose a specific program, and with that, the questions are going to be really tailored to specific programs that you might be interested in. We also have more of like a general like student employment version as well. So what you can do is you can kind of go in there, listen to the video questions, and then record your own. And then once you're done with that, you can go ahead and share with us so that we can give you more personalized feedback. So if you are interested in getting signed up for that, go ahead and email us at careerservices@clark.edu. Or if you would rather meet with an employment specialist for a practice interview, definitely email us and we can set you up with that. So we are here to help you. So today, the learning outcomes are to build awareness about what to expect before, during, and after your interview. Learn how to effectively market your skills and experience. And I have found that that is very challenging for people. And then we're going to apply interview techniques and practices. Purpose of an interview, it's not just to make you nervous. It gives you an opportunity to explain your resume, demonstrate you have the required skills for the position that you're applying for. It allows you to make a lasting impression on the employers and to make that personal connection, which is very, very important. Not only are you going in there to, express how qualified you are, but it's also to kind of create that personal connection. So I want you to pay attention to that as well. Sometimes people are so focused on communicating their qualifications that they forget about the personal connection component. So when they're interviewing you, they want to, not only make sure that you do have the qualifications, but they also want to make sure that you're going to be a fitting member of the team. This also gives you the opportunity to interview the interviewers. Okay, this is something that we forget. Not only are they interviewing you, but this gives you the opportunity to interview them to make sure that you are going to fit in and feel comfortable in that environment. And then if all is well, then you will obtain employment. Types of interviews. So there's the traditional or virtual right now, face-to-face or video conferencing, just the asking series of questions. There's a screening interview, which is generally used to just make sure that candidates have the minimum qualifications before they're pulled into an actual interview. Sometimes this is done over the phone. Then there's behavioral, which is designed to understand certain behaviors of candidates. So we're going to talk more about behavior-based questions, which kind of pertains to that. And then there's group interviews, which is used to compare and contrast different candidates. And right now, because of COVID, that's generally not happening. But once we get beyond this, then, a lot of government jobs do those. So rehearsing for interviews is really, really, really important. So it's just like a speech, right? You're just going to practice out loud before the interview until things flow. Identify inconsistencies in your delivery and answering techniques. Listen to yourself, listen to your answers. You want to rehearse with a trusted listener to build confidence. However, if you do not have a trusted listener, if somebody is going to derail you, then it's best to just practice out loud or in front of a mirror. Repeat, repeat, repeat until things flow. So the more you practice, the more you're brainstorming and the more you don't have to come up with answers when you're under duress. So this is why it's really, really important. And, helpful tips. So utilize the typical interview questions handout. What I tell my clients is to, use that to study, use that to practice your answers out loud. And yeah, maybe they're not going to ask you, the specific questions that are on that handout, but they might be asking you very similar questions in their own words. So at least you've done some brainstorming and you've got some ideas on, your answers that you're going to deliver. So practice, practice, practice. Preparing for your interview, you want to make sure that you have a good interview outfit. So what I say by that is, what do you feel confident in? What do you feel comfortable in? What do you feel professional in? There are different types of professionalism. And basically, it's, what do you feel comfortable in? What do you feel confident in? What do you feel professional in? Before you go in for your interview, you want to research the organization. There have been times when I have gone in for an interview and right off the bat, I was asked, well, tell me something about this company. Because when employers are calling you in for an interview, they want to make sure that, they're going to hire somebody that actually wants to, work there, someone that's already, invested in researching. So definitely that's a must. Research the organization. Develop those confident responses to key questions that we just talked about, and practice, practice, practice. If you are going somewhere, you want to know where you are going and show up on time. Show up maybe a little bit early. If there's a parking issue, if you get lost, I know I always get lost, so I always, pack in that extra lost buffer time, just in case. And if you're there early, great, sit in the car or, sit outside and just, practice breathing and practice, in your head what you're going to say. Okay. Be sure to bring a few copies of your resume just in case. Bring the copy of the job posting and know it. Like, highlight those keywords and qualifications that they're looking for and bring those up during the interview. Bring a pen and paper to take notes. Most of the time you won't need it, but just in case. And also it makes you look prepared. Bring a list of follow-up questions, definitely. And then bring a list of key talking points just in case, because, sometimes interviews don't go the way that we expect it. We don't know what types of questions they're going to, ask us. And, sometimes, towards the end, they will ask, do you have anything else to add? And that gives you the opportunity to bring up something that maybe hadn't come up earlier that you want to communicate. So the tips here: review the interview tips and questions to ask handouts. So really, really important to ask those follow-up questions at the end. Usually we say 2 to 3 follow-up questions. Preparing for your virtual interview. So you want to definitely download the needed software and test out your camera and speakers ahead of time. You do not want to have a technology issue. You want to make sure that you have stable internet connection. And sometimes it's kind of rough, with working virtually. Sometimes, we have multiple, occupants in a room utilizing bandwidth. So you just want to arrange things ahead of time just to ensure that you do have the best possible connection. You want to create a quiet space with a professional backdrop. Again, sometimes it's really difficult when, there are multiple occupants within a room. So, use headphones. See if you can just, arrange with, your housemates or whatever, that you have this quiet time. And as far as a professional backdrop, so, Zoom has some really great backgrounds that you can utilize. You can also, set things up temporarily, like put up a sheet or, something to kind of make it look professional. Make sure your, laundry piles aren't, visible in the background. If you're using a laptop, it's important to stack books underneath it so that it captures your shoulders and whole head instead of you looking down. So again, this is something that you kind of want to test out before your actual interview. You want to be sure to place all needed items near you, including water, just in case, you have like a dry throat or something like that. As well as, job description, pen and paper, things like that. During the interview, it's important to be intentional by listening carefully, give those fully considered answers. Again, you want to use those keywords that you have highlighted in the job description next to you, and definitely convey interest. Take a moment for thought and breathe. If you are asked a tough question, that's okay. What you want to do is, take a deep breath and say, that's a really good question. And then go ahead and answer. And you've just bought yourself some time to kind of think of a good answer. And definitely ask those questions when prompted. There have been, sometimes when I've done practice interviews and asked, do you have any questions for me at the end? And many times I get the response of, no, I'm good. By asking questions, it conveys interest, and that's incredibly important. Again, you want to make sure that they know that you want to work there. And also those follow-up questions are a way for you to interview them to make sure that you want to work there. So you also want to be memorable by being punctual, so important. Professional, and again, professionalism means different things to different people. So whatever you feel is professional. You want to be present, you want to be positive. So the 4 P's there. You want to just be mindful that first impressions do matter, unfortunately. Smile, make eye contact, look at the camera when speaking, because that kind of makes it seem like you're making, eye contact. Demonstrate your value. So appearance, posture, and nonverbals for your appearance. So appropriate attire, comfort, and confidence are key, like we mentioned before. Cleanliness and neatness are important. If you are going in, you want to avoid wearing strong scents because sometimes people can be really, really allergic to perfumes. Posture is also really, really important. Again, you want to display interest and excitement. You want to sit up straight and make eye contact. You want to avoid slouching. If you talk with your hands, try to keep them in your lap. Sometimes if you talk with your hands too much, it can be a little too much. So, if you fidget, just be mindful of that. If you have a swivel chair, that is my thing, and I know it. Make sure to maybe like sit in a different chair. Typical questions would be, why don't you tell me about yourself? What is your greatest weakness? What is your greatest strength? Why should we hire you? And tell me about a time when you had to deal with a difficult client. So typical question number 1, most likely this is going to be the opening question. Tell me about yourself. Okay, what do you say? That's such a broad question. So what employers are wanting to hear, they want to hear about the 3 E's is what we say. So talk about your education, experience, and enthusiasm. Now, what I mean by that is, so education, talk about things that are relative. Talk about, institution, your, degrees, certificates, applied knowledge, courses, and then, talk about your experience. Again, everything's going to be related to the position that you're applying for. So work, volunteer, externship, practicum, student employment, coursework. You want to captivate your audience by sharing your enthusiasm. Focus on the position you are interviewing for. Talk to their benefit. For this, refer to the self-introduction handout, and this is something that you can kind of prepare ahead of time and practice, practice, practice. It's probably one of the hardest questions just because it's so broad, but you want to keep it relevant. You know, you don't want to talk about, you know, where you were born and, you know, this and that. So again, just, you know, keep it relevant and focus on the 3 E's. Typical question number 2, what are your 3 major strengths? Employers are wanting to hear about your key qualifications. You want to list your relevant skills and abilities as they relate to the position. Remember, everything is going to be highly tailored for, you know, this position that you're applying for. You want to supply a simple example of each strength and then use their keywords in your responses. Typical question number 3, why should I hire you? Employers are wanting to hear about the value that you're going to bring. Talk about the skills, identify and articulate those skills, strengths, and knowledge, and you know, experiences relevant and required for the position. You want to speak to their benefit again, remember. You want to share how you plan to self-promote in the workplace. Behavior-based questions. So tell us about a time when, describe a situation when, give an example of how or when, or have you ever. So we had talked about, you know, the behavior interviewing. So basically, employers are wanting to hear about a specific time, a specific incident in which something happened. They want to hear what you did, and usually, you know, past behavior dictates, you know, future behavior. So they are basically seeing how you would react in the future. The best way to respond to these questions, and a good acronym to kind of remember, is the STAR method. So situation, when was it, where was it, give it a, you know, give it a little background. Task, what challenge and expectations happened, what needed to be done, why. Action, what did you do? Talk about the tools that you used. And then the results. So explain what happened in the end. You want to talk about accomplishments, recognition, savings, if you can quantify. Now, you want to have kind of a positive outcome. Maybe if there wasn't a positive outcome, talk about what you learned from it and how you kind of go through a situation, a similar situation like that now. Okay. Are you nervous while interviewing? If you are, that's totally normal. So you have control over yourself. You truly do. So know your body, know your responses. Again, nervousness is normal, but it can also be transformed into positive energy. You can trick your body into feeling confident. Smile, say, I am excited instead of feeling nervous. Change your thinking patterns. This is all psychology. So something that I learned in one of my first psychology classes was the power of smiling. If you don't feel happy, just, you know, like if you put a pen in your mouth and it lifts up the sides of your mouth, it actually makes you happy. You have control over your body. So we're going to do a little brainstorm on demonstrating your value. These are important things to think about before you go in there. This is going to help you gain some confidence as well. So think to yourself, what are you good at? What do you know about? What are you known for? What do you stand for? To help you with this, later on, you can complete the Identify Your Employability Skills activity in My Plan. We'll talk a little bit more about My Plan later. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to kind of do this brainstorm. And this is for you to really think about and expand your brainstorm for you. Okay. Okay, again, I want you to continue thinking about this. Okay, so building confidence. Our bodies change our minds change our behavior, and our behavior changes our outcomes. What you may want to do is watch this TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. She talks about body language and how that can kind of shape how you feel. She talks a lot about power posing, which is, like putting your hands on your hips, standing, with confidence. And it actually really changes how you feel. Sometimes I do that for, if I have to do a big speech or something that I'm nervous about, I stand there. And, with my hands on my hips and I breathe. And it actually really, really helps. So strengthen communication through confidence. You can do it. Build your confidence. Take ownership of your experience. Effectively market your qualifications and value. Convince them you deserve to be there because you do. So after your interview, you want to send a thank you note. Usually, you want to send it within 24 hours. Right now with COVID, I would probably suggest sending an email. Most people are working virtually still. So what you want to do is you want to summarize the interview. You want to emphasize your strengths and skills. Again, refer to specifics in your interview. Remind them of who you are. Mention an important overlooked item. Sometimes when we're really nervous, or maybe we're just not given the opportunity to mention something, this gives you a second chance to mention that. Also express that strong interest in that position. So deliver in person, maybe not right now, through email or mail. And, refer to the thank you note handout for more information on how to write that and what to say. So my plan activities, you want to go to the Clark website, click on Get Started, click on My Plan, click on Career Planning, and then click on Job Search Strategies. And then there is like a self-driven activity that you can do to help you with this. So maybe what I'll do is I will go ahead and kind of show you how to navigate. So we're going to do a new share. We're going to go over to the Clark website. So under Get Started, you would go to My Plan. And then you'll notice that there's 3 different components here. So there's career planning, which we had talked about. There's financial wellness planning and academic planning. These are totally free, and these will help you go through, the process of being a student and kind of help you with the process. So with career planning, we're going to go there real quick. So if you click on these are kind of accordions that expand. And, going under Know Yourself. So, these are all about, career assessments and career advising and things like that, social identities. These are all really cool to kind of dive into. So there's always an essential activity, and then there's deeper dive activities. So I would definitely suggest that you check these out. Okay. LinkedIn profile. So all of these are relevant to you. Under job search strategies, there's build a resume, build a cover letter, create your self-introduction, which we had talked about, and then complete a practice interview and stand out. So we talked about that as well. And then identify your employability skills. So we kind of did that, a little bit of a brainstorm, but this is kind of a continuation. And then, you can go ahead and review the Find a Job webpage. Now, these are usually, these links are going to be activities that pop up in Microsoft Word because it's accessible. Okay, and then professional readiness competencies. This is definitely something to kind of download and ensure that you are on track. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that real quick, but definitely, take advantage of that. Utilize that to help you. Okay, so Penguin Jobs. So again, it's Clark College's online job board. So the way that you would get there is clark.edu/cc/penguin jobs. And then you can go ahead and upload your resume for approval. And one of our specialists will, kind of give you tips or whatever for improvement. And then you can go ahead and kind of fill out your profile and start to look for jobs within the area. So career services, again, contact us. We are here for you. Either email us at careerservices@clark.edu, or you can, call and leave a message at 360-992-2902. Thank you so much, and, have a wonderful day.